Okay, I'd like to call the Metro North meeting for the month of December to order. Can I get an approval of minutes, please? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, public comments. We have Murray Bowden, concerned grandparents, ready the capital program.
Good morning. Let the record show that Mr. Bowden asked two questions. One, why you have to sign a receipt when you get a ticket from a ticket agent and not a machine. And two, why they blow the train whistle a half a mile up the track instead of announcing it on the public address system on the platform. These are the minutes for today, the agenda. I downloaded it yesterday. I have it for Metro North Committee meeting. I have it for Bridges and Tunnels. I have it for Capital Construction. The chairman came in last month and said we won't print them anymore. They stopped printing them. Mr. Permit, it's your responsibility to notice that the train whistle does no good half a mile up the track. This came up because at the last time I was here at the Long Island Committee meeting, they were talking about train whistles, and I said, we don't blow the whistle on Metro North and the Harlem line. Yes, we do. And in fact, it is louder than the old ones, I asked. It is your responsibility to be forthcoming and say, we need to stop that practice because it was appropriate in 1890, but in 2009 it is not. It is appropriate no longer to sign a receipt for a ticket. You waste time printing it. You cannot use it. There is no receipt that you sign at the ticket machine. I've asked the question before, and I ask it this time, because this is a rehearsal for the board meeting next week. I will raise the same two issues at the board meeting, because if you cannot correct these small items, you cannot plan for the Tappan Zee, nor anything else. And I think it's time that somebody stopped and said, what are we doing? What was appropriate 100 years ago is not appropriate today. And we need somebody who can make those small changes, like just saying, stop printing the books.
Thank you. Proposed 2010 Metro North work plan is fine, no changes.
Okay.
Do
Yes.
we have to approve it since it's a 2010 work plan?
I don't know. Seth, do we need an approval?
It's a proposed 2010 work plan. Well, let's
Yeah.
cover ourselves.
All right.
Can I get a motion to approve? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Okay. Yes, I had just a couple of comments. First, on the positive side, I wanted to introduce Bob Lieblong, who you know. Bob has now been appointed as Senior Vice President of Operations, and so welcome, Bob, to the team on a permanent basis. On the slightly sadder side, I wanted to mention two key Metro North employees, longtime employees, will be retiring in the next month or so. One is Ron Yutko, sitting over here. Ron will be going off to follow the Jets full-time. And secondly is Bill Duke in the back. Bill is been our chief mechanical officer, one of the people who, behind when George is here, or Bob, who's basically getting the fleet in place and behind the terrific performance of Metro North. Bill will be retiring in January. We have appointed the replacement, John Kesich. I would introduce you to him, but he is sick today, so we'll have John come to the next meeting so everyone can meet him. John's been with the railroad 15 years and has been in the mechanical department for the better part of 10. Bill's been with the railroad for about 35 years through a host of different assignments. He's been a major contributor in every place he went. So I'd just like to recognize both Ron and Bill for their terrific accomplishments and work they did for Metro-North over the years.
I think on behalf of the committee, I'd like to thank you both for your service and wish you a lot of luck going forward.
You will be missed. Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know where Ron's seniority was, but Billy's seniority is in the machinist union, and we probably have some issues of outstanding tools, which we'd like returned as soon as before the
one less dues-paying member, right?
Well, you know, we can use that. Hey, he's still a young guy, though. You know, I'm sure he remembers how to drill a hole. You know. So, anyhow, it's a pleasure working with both y'all.
Thanks.
Okay, status of operations.
Good morning, everybody. The good news continues with respect to OTP. November, we operated at 98.2%, which was above our goal of 97.6%. All categories were at or above goal for the month. During the month of November, we operated below 95% only one time, and we were at 98.9% of our trains operating with a full consist. Year to date, we are still at 97.9%. So the hope is we will have a decent December and be able to hold that, and that would give us our highest OTP in history if we can maintain that for the rest of this month. On the west of Hudson, we operated at 95.7%, which is below our goal of 96.2%. The Port Jervis operated at 94.4%, below 95% goal, and the Pascack Valley was at 96.5%, below the goal of 97%. Year to date, however, we are still at 96.2% overall, which is what our goal is for the year. And on the MDBF side, a very good month. Month of October, we were at 186,500, above a goal of 105,000. This is really our fifth consecutive month of much better than average MDBF, and it has brought our year-to-date number up to 115,665 against, like I said, a goal of 105,000. And that's the report.
Any questions? Comments? Thanks.
Thank you.
Kim?
Hey, good morning. All the details for October 2009 financial reports are included in your book. And I wanted to highlight for you on page 33, if you can turn to that. As you see on this page, what we are realizing is a number of significant positive variances. The variance year-to-date for October against the mid-year forecast is $32 million. And it's a lower number of $21 million against the November forecast. This November forecast represents our final update for the 2009 budget. What you're seeing in the reduced favorable variance from the mid-year forecast to the year-end forecast is the fact that we've incorporated significant real savings, which we have previously reported to you in the prior meetings. Those related to higher vacancies, lower health and welfare premiums, lower pricing for traction and propulsion power. There are also some timing-related variances on expenditures. Some of these are expected to be addressed through November and December activity. And any of those will be not addressed and incurred will be carried over into 2010. This year-end forecast also reflects revenue updates that have incorporated updated trends for revenue and riderships and other operating revenues. So you're seeing that we are tracking closer to the November year-end forecast. And overall, the final results will be reported to you in the first 2 months of 2010. So with that, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions? It seems that we're doing very well against our plan.
Yes, we are.
So we should pump that up at a time when we need some good news.
Right.
Okay, monthly ridership.
Good morning. The monthly ridership report's in your book starting on page 35. I'm just going to give you a few highlights. October ridership east of Hudson was down 5.1% compared to last year. Year-to-date through October, we're now at 4.2% below 2008 levels. We're still running slightly above 2007 levels, so this is, again, a return back to 2007 levels of ridership. By line, it's fairly consistent across the lines. It ranges from 4.3 on the New Haven to minus 6.2 on the Harlem, a fairly tight range. Commutation continues to be where the bigger problem is. Commutation in October was down 7.3%, where non-com ridership, discretionary ridership primarily, was down 1.6. West of Hudson, the ridership was, I got to find my note here, was down significantly more. West of Hudson was down 9.7%. We had significant decreases on both the Pascack Valley and the Port Jervis. I'll just mention that Thanksgiving weekend, we had some good news. We over the 4-day Thanksgiving, 4.5 day, from noon on Wednesday through Sunday night, overall ridership this year was basically the same as last year, which is about 1.5% above 2007 levels. And given that we're seeing 1.5% to 2% across the board drop in discretionary ridership in recent months, the fact that it was flat versus last year and above 2007 levels is a good result. One other comment I'll make is that Howard had mentioned at previous meeting that we had opened the new ticket center, our second TVM center in the terminal over towards the Lex. It's proving to be very popular, and over Thanksgiving weekend, particularly on Thanksgiving Day, it was a significant benefit in shortening lines. And looking at the overall numbers, we reduced people's usage of ticket office or ticket windows. Last year on Thanksgiving, about 60% of the sales were via the windows, 40% via TVM, and now it's a 50-50 split. And this is with the thing only open a couple weeks before Thanksgiving, so we expect as time goes on, more people will learn about it, and that trend will even continue a little bit further. So we've gotten to where half the sales on Thanksgiving are out of the ticket vending machines, which is terrific, because that just means significantly shorter lines at the windows for people who do choose to use the windows. And the 9 more machines in the terminal means there's shorter lines everywhere for people on Thanksgiving and the day after, which was a good result.
Bob,
Yes.
Is there a protocol with the ticket sellers for them to maybe either inquire or remind their customers that in many cases the tickets that they're purchasing from them can be gotten from a TVM?
At the windows, I don't believe we normally do that with our ticket sellers. However, from time to time, we have used people from Grand Central or marketing or customer service to work the lines and to talk to people waiting in line and to find out, depending on their needs, to actually we've upon occasion offered to take them over, and if they're uncomfortable using a machine for the first time, we've done that. And we'll also remind people that there are maybe no line or very short lines to get machines.
If you're in Grand Central, you'll hear announcements that say it. We have signs up. We have special signs by the windows where we remind people where the TVM centers are. George, you want to add anything?
Display boards also next to the monitors we have posted there, and the customer information panels on floor and Grand Central Terminal 90.
No, I just think that people are in a particularly, shall we say, advantageous position to receive that information after they've been in line for 20 minutes.
Right.
But I'll just say that slows down the line for everybody behind if they get into a chat about the machines. So we try to do it when they're standing on line, as opposed to when they're tying up the agent buying a ticket.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Ron, one last time.
Well, we might have one more
Thank
time
you.
after that. I'm not sure.
No, I think this is it.
Oh, this is it? Oh, all right. Well, make it good, Ron.
By 4 days, this is it. Good morning. Thank you. The capital program highlights are on page 45 of your agenda book, and I, as usual, have a few updates. Cortland, the building demolition was completed, and we still continue to work on the pile foundation work on the retaining walls. On the station jobs at Ossining, the south end of the 1-3 platform will be back in service next week, and then we'll begin on the north half of that platform. At Tarrytown, the 2-4 island platform was removed from service, and demolition began yesterday. At Poughkeepsie, the cornice work and the windows and door work continues at that station. At Tarrytown, Fordham, and Port Chester, those are complete or substantially complete. As is the bridge work on the priority repairs on the Moodna Viaduct. That work is complete. And we've begun by taking out of service the I'll call it first. It's actually Park Ave in Mount Vernon. That bridge is being taken out of service. It was taken out on December 7th. It's an 18-month contract, but the bridge should reopen within 12 months. In December 2010, we should open it. The detours around it are Fulton Street and First Avenue on either side. I'm sorry, 3rd Avenue and Fulton Street on either side, so it shouldn't be a terrible inconvenience to Mount Vernon. Shops and Yards, Phase 3, the last building that we're moving into is the coach shop. We're moving people, administrative people and equipment, doing testing. Later this week we'll do some third rail testing. That's what we call the bug or the stinger, the third rail power that's within the shop area, bringing some cars in, coupling and uncoupling them in the in-house. And last week we dropped a truck on the split rail lift for that shop. The coach order, we have 68 plus 169 at 69 cars at Harmon, and 3 are en route, so that's about 70% of that job complete. And the M8s, the first pilot pair was offloaded in Baltimore last week. The plan is for that pilot pair to reach New Haven by the week of 12/21. There's a second pair at sea now, and there'll be a third pilot pair shipped at the end of this month, and the last pilot pair will be shipped in January, and the first 4 production M8s will ship in the spring of 2010. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah. Ron, just adding to the congratulatory comments heard earlier, representing the riders, I'd like to express my and their appreciation for the efforts that you've put forth over a long career. Really, the time that you've been in place and doing your job, the face of the railroad has just changed remarkably, and it is something that we all appreciate. This between the station upgrades all over the place, a magnificent job at the Harmon Yards, and just the and the work in and around the Grand Central area has all been very much appreciated. I know you're going to miss our sort of semi-monthly dialogues, but it's always.
Would you like his home phone number?
I wouldn't dream of asking him for that, but I will say that the only thing I'd hoped is that you and I would be able to stand together when the Ossining, which is my home station, when the Ossining project was done, and maybe if you're around when that happens, we'll be able to do it. I thank you very, very much.
Thank you. That's very kind. I was here actually before any of the capital programs began at the MTA, and it's been a wonderful privilege to work and be able to do all these wonderful projects through the capital programs in a little over 35 years here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, and I did want to say one other thing, which is that I guess we'll always look for high praise for people who've done a great job, but probably the greatest thing that one could say about a person in your position is that over the years, in a position of building stuff, it's come in on time and on budget, and man, that is tough to do.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We thank you. Monthly safety report.
Ann?
Yes, good morning, thank you. I'll be summarizing our results through the month of October. Our employee injuries will be found on page 50. For the year 2008, we had a total of 157 injuries, compared to 2009 with a total of 191 injuries. Our lost time injuries for 2008 were 43, and our restricted duty were 23, giving us a frequency index for lost time and restricted duty of 1.2 in 2008. In 2009, the lost time numbers were 96 and restricted duty 17, with a frequency index of 2.1. The FRA reportable frequency index for 2008 was 2.0, and in 2009, the FRA reportable frequency index was 2.8. Our customer injuries will be found on page 52. We had a total in 2008 of 223 customer injuries, and in 2009 we had 175, representing a decrease of almost 22%. Injuries per million, we had in 2008 3.3 customer injuries per million rides. In 2009 we had 2.7 injuries per million rides, representing an 18% decrease. And the FRA reportable injuries per million rides in both 2008 and 2009 was 0.3. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Yes, I have a question. It seems odd that our employee injuries over the past 4 years have been going down, and this year they're spiking going up, and our customer injuries are going down. Does this mean there are less trip and falls with the customers than the employees?
Well, not that simple, but yes, overall there have been less slip, trip, and falls for our customer injuries, and the numbers are so low, we're not really sure why or how to attribute that, other than, better station maintenance, continuous inspections, and staying on top of our station safety.
Carl, I think also we have to keep in mind that last year there's a bit of a variation year to year, that sometimes just in a long-term trend, you have abnormal situations. Last year, our employee injuries went way down, but customer injuries went up. This year, the employee injuries are up and the customer injuries are down. So they're actually, which, logically doesn't make any real sense. You would think they should go in roughly the same direction. Mm-hmm. Long term, they have both gone in the same direction. So I think to some extent what we're seeing is last year we just had some abnormal circumstance on the employee side, and on the customer side, the long-term trends for both, when you look at them, are still going down.
Even without doing the comparison, though, if you look at the employees from 2005, 6 down, 7 down, 8 down, and it looked like we were going on a pretty good trend there,
right.
And then all of a sudden it went up.
Right.
So it just kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Police report, please.
Good morning. The following statistics can be found in your book on page 54 and 54A. For the Metro-North Railroad, for the month of November, we showed no increase or decrease in the major crime categories that we track. Throughout the year from January to November, we have seen a 33% decrease in all major crime categories. And system-wide, which are the numbers that include Long Island Railroad and Metro-North, we are showing a 10% decrease in all major crime categories for the month of November, and an 18% decrease in all major crime categories January to November. One newsworthy event that made media press was for an assault that took place against one particular conductor on November 16, 2009, at the South Norwalk train station. After an ongoing investigation, 3 subjects were placed under arrest and charged accordingly. 2 are due to appear before the magistrates in Connecticut on the 15th of December. They have made bail, and 1 is still held as a youthful offender. And that is all I have. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, information item. Hudson,
Yes.
air condition.
Bob.
Yes, third quarter HVAC, the charts are in your book again on page 55. The bottom line, all the charts are for the quarter, we were at
98.8% against a target of 98%. And year-to-date, actually, we're at 99.1% for the first 3 quarters of this year. So the HVAC report is a good story. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Okay, action items. Okay, last month we received the 2009 November forecast and the final proposed budget for 2010. Can I get a motion to accept as presented last month? Move. I need a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Okay.
Jim, let me just add to that is some good news to announce to the committee is that on December the 1st, in accordance with the service level agreement with Connecticut Department of Transportation, they have formally approved their funding share of the 2009 operating budget deficit for the New Haven line service. That amounts to $100 million. We've also received from them formal approval for all funding requirements on their end for 2010 capital program improvements and investments as well. So
That's good news. We've had that in the paper.
Yes, that's been very positive. A lot of work by a lot of people to bring that to fruition with the state of Connecticut. Very positive. The next item I'm going to ask is the branding agreement. Do you want to first make a motion and?
Make a motion to accept the
Yeah, and then I'd ask Randy. Randy's here, as is Jeff Rosen, David Bosch from Real Estate, and they'll give a very, very short summary of this
Can I get a motion in a second, and then we'll have some discussion on the branding? Second?
Okay, Randy, could you, and I just want to just give us a highlight. One of the objectives we've talked about it over the years, is to try to find revenues than our passengers, what we call non-fare revenue. Something that's been a priority at Metro North for a number of years. This is one of the initiatives that we've worked on between Real Estate and Metro North to do that, and we now finally have a successful conclusion to it. Randy, could you just summarize?
Sure. Page 74, a quick overview of the vending program action. We had 2 objectives: to increase, as Howard said, non-fare revenues to Metro North through both vending sales and in deploying a value capture strategy and securing brand exclusivity fees. And secondly, to provide additional amenities at stations for customers and at employee locations for our workforce. It's a really good example, as Howard has indicated, of a joint effort with us and Real Estate. And I certainly want to thank Jeff and David and Steve Bruska, who led the Metro North team, and his staff, Alan Schuman and Peter Ramos. The deal was the result of a request for expressions of interest followed by an RFP. It's a 10-year arrangement which provides us a minimum annual guarantees, some upside components, which is a guaranteed rent by machine, and a percentage of gross. And through an annual true-up, Metro North will enjoy the higher of the 3 formulas, so we can be ensured over the 10-year period that we can adequately capture upside of the program. Other components of this include exclusivity payments that were negotiated by us providing a brand exclusive provider under beverages, which Coca-Cola was identified, and for snacks, which M&M Mars were identified. They both will contribute about $110,000 annually. Coke made a 5-year commitment. M&M's a 1-year, which is renewable. We have the right at any time to replace or rebid the exclusivity piece. That will allow for these machines to be branded, and we will vend only the products from these entities, with the exception on the snack side. We've imposed an obligation for healthy choices, so things like trail mix and pretzels and other things will be available to customers. The other piece of this, in this $3 million program, is electrical upgrades. In order for us to roll this out in a multi-phase program over a few years, most of the stations don't have the electrical capability to plug these devices in, and through the negotiation, we've secured about another $320,000 in an investment from the Anza Group Vending Company, who is the firm identified for this. Metro North will also spend about $200,000, but again, this is a 10-year plan, and with these guaranteed payments, it behooves us to make smaller CapEx investments to have a more robust program. We only have about 40 concessionaires in the system. We have mixed results with coffee trucks. The vending machines at stations will provide a consistent choice for customers. We've also valued the deal. We went outside, took a look at other transit properties to see what they've done, what they've been able to garner. There actually are none that have a sponsored component. We went out to New York City Board of Ed and New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation, who do have sponsored vending, to benchmark the value that we're getting. Out of the peer review, we are actually enjoying the highest returns on both sales revenue and sponsorship revenue. And the last piece of this is over the multi-phase program, we'll roll out about 207 machines over a 3 to 4 year period. We have customer service provisions for 24-hour, 7-day response and a toll-free number for any customers having an issue. Certainly, the machines will introduce the latest in debit and credit acceptance for all of our facilities. And the employee shops and yards, we have very antiquated vending equipment. The deal requires replacement of all vending machines at all employee locations in New York State. So we'll have the best equipment and provisions available, and the machines will also be upgradable if, in fact, the MTA comes out with a future Fair Media card. We will look to see how we can adapt the vending machines to perhaps accept that product. So that is the action for your approval.
Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Carry. Procurements.
Okay.
We have, let's see, we have 6 procurements totaling $303,425,000. Can I get a motion and a second, and we'll have discussion? Motion. Second? Second. Okay, discussion.
Okay, let me speak for 1 minute on just highlight a couple of things for you. First, in the big procurement is the joint procurement, which is the GEC program for Metro North. We led this. It's a Metro North-led procurement. It will be used by Long Island Railroad, Metro North, MTA headquarters, and MTACC. And what this is this is, in essence, a pre-qualification for the engineering consultants. Once they are pre-qualified and selected, they then have the opportunity to bid on specific projects that we will select for them. If we continue to have the opportunity to do things in-house if we desire. If not, if we have, for example, an architectural situation or engineering situation in a category, we will now pre-qualify these people. They will then bid. It's the same as a regular bid, but it expedites significantly the time frame it takes to award the contract. So this is not a guarantee to pay anybody. It's simply a pre-qualification with an estimated value of how much we, the Long Island, and the other agencies will spend over the next 5 years. So that's the biggest one. In addition, we had New York City Transit is doing a joint procurement for us for indefinite quantity contracts to provide some risk assessment consultant. Metro North is a part of that procurement. And Long Island Railroad is requesting board approval for a 1-year extension, a 1-year term of their contract to manage occupational health services facilities, and we're part of that joint procurement. So those are the joint procurements. In addition, as Jim mentioned, we have 6 procurements this month. There are 2 non-competitives. One is to Madison for various air conditioner vaporizer gel packs. One is a non-competitive with USS&C for the purchase of various hardware for our windows on the M2s. In essence, that's a bit of a stopgap since we're looking to retire the M2s over the next few years. This will get them through that time period. And then we have 4 competitive procurements. One is a request to use the RFP to pre-qualify construction contractors for small jobs, something that gives us more flexibility when we have a stair repair at a station, for example, something like that. Also, a competitive award to Day Engineering for them to do the on-call services for environmental engineering and occupational safety for us. And then finally, a contract to do snow and ice removal at Yankees East 153rd Street train station. Any questions?
Yeah, Howard, the item here, general engineering consultants, is
Sure.
$295 million.
Right.
This number, is this a number that was you you got from like the last 5 years?
Carl, this was based on our estimate, given the capital programs of the different agencies going forward, that the agencies came up with an estimate of what they think that will be necessary. I don't know exactly the history. I don't know if, is Anthony, I don't see Anthony here.
We did a reconciliation last month, so I did. The total amount of Metro North general engineering contracts since November of 2000 has been roughly $114 million, our portion alone.
And the other agencies, does that come close to coming to this
That
number?
would fold into this.
Yes.
So-
You would add the others in. And there's probably a contingency because you don't really know, Carl, what is that exactly will be done.
All right, it just seemed like a lot of money.
Now, it's a not to exceed, but the important thing again is this is not an award for $295 million. It's simply pre-qualifying people.
Yeah.
The awards come one by one down the road.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about pre-qualification. I mean, I applaud pre-qualification. I think it's good. It's established in the industry. But I'm concerned about how this might impact MWBE. And it's just a sentence there, that contract by contract. But by pre-qualifying these, I suppose you'd exclude other firms. And I'm just wondering at this impact on MWBE.
Anthony, do you want to speak to that?
In the newspapers and in minority publications, actually two different minority publications. And individual contracts, when they get solicited, there are goals that are set by the MTA OCR department. So on an individual basis, you have goals that may be set. And the program already had OCR oversight from the beginning. That's correct. That's correct.
Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Okay, our next meeting is going to be Monday, January 25th at 8:30. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, and wish everyone a very happy holiday season as well.